seen glass shatter like that when you've been inside and it's 20 degrees below outside, like if you get here in the winter. But I've yet to see that happen in the month of August. No glass hit you though, you are fine.
Oh, yes.
Good. That created quite the start.
Yes, it did.
Oh,
Must make sure that St. Louis orders us new or glass from perhaps a more reputable dealer.
obviously
So
not
anyway.
properly tempered.
Yeah. So how's this experience with Audubon been going? I mean, what have they been getting up here?
Lots of time spent in the field, hunting, collecting different animal specimens. As I understand, young Owen has been taking members of the Audubon party out, hunting buffalo, deer, elk. Some of them may turn into fine hunters yet. We shall see. I believe Harris shows the most promise.
Yeah, I get the impression that taxidermist, that Bell fellow, he's been really coming to develop a taste for running or chasing after buffalo. So perhaps
He's had some adventure for sure.
Yeah, so what have they been getting besides buffalo?
You know, not too long ago, in the past week or so, they were sent out to collect sage hens, and that venture was not profitable in regards to that. But they did bring back, I thought this was most entertaining, a porcupine.
Porcupine. Yeah, I see the resemblance. They're both pretty.
An easy mistake to make.
Yeah.
Yes. How Mr. Bell plans on engaging in the art of taxidermy with that is beyond me. I'm just glad that the task is not up to me to complete.
Well, would your wife be able to offer any suggestions, Edwin? I mean,
Probably to just leave the porcupine alone is probably what my wife would suggest.
well, doesn't she collect porcupine quills? But needless
She
to
does,
say.
yes. Sometimes I am sent off on that task myself.
Oh, don't envy you. Not that I haven't done it myself either. Nah, I tell you, I'd rather, I think, collect porcupine quills though than, James had Alex Culbertson and I head out with him at dusk and or dawn a couple of days in a row here to check out some of those scaffolds to the west.
Eastern Hawaiian burials, yes. I too was brought into that. 3 years passed, an Assiniboine man by the name of White Cow. He had died, and I took him to where he had been laid to rest. And as the Assiniboine practices currently, a box was constructed for his body to be placed in, and about 10 feet or so up into the limbs of a tree is where the coffin is placed.
Now, White Cow, I think I remember hearing about him, if I'm moving, when I was up here in 88 to build Port Union, I obviously was meeting some of the others and some of the leaders. I think he was an orator of some note, was he not?
He was well liked by his people, and he could discuss many subjects that the Assiniboine are interested in, and would at every opportunity harangue his friends and family into conversation. Well liked, well respected, loving wife, but he was consumptive, and he was getting sicker and sicker to the point where one day, as I understand, he sent his wife on some errand out of the lodge, and when she returned, it was found that he'd taken an arrow and thrust it into his chest, and he had transpired by the time that she had returned.
You well aware, of course, down at Fort Clark for years, but I believe I recall another Assiniboine headman Gauch doing something similar in the early 30s. But anyway, that fascination though with Audubon wanting to collect skulls. I seem to remember Prince Maximilian. I think it was before you actually came to the Upper Missouri here, but
Because he spent time with you at Fort Clark, correct?
yeah, he did, and then he came up here, and I seem to recall he and his painter, was it Carl Bodmer, collecting some skulls as well.
I don't
Anyway.
understand the study or why the practice practice exists, but.
I don't know, but so this white cow, I think I heard that you had to scramble up on Audubon's shoulders. That's got to be a jittery
It was such a
task.
precarious affair. So I had to climb up his back, and I got my feet on his shoulders, and I'm holding onto the tree as best I can as we are wavering, and I'm able to reach the box where White Cow is, and we were able to get his box down. And as I said, this is 3 years past that White Cow had died, and we opened the box, and upon examination, the first thing that struck my eye was a pillow that was inside the box. Now, what was curious about it is you and I in the evening might recline upon a pillow that we might rest, but that was not the way that it was used as laid with White Cow. In fact, it was laid under his feet. His feet were on top of the pillow. His body was wrapped in a tanned buffalo skin. Around that was wrapped a buffalo robe of the finest fur. An American flag was draped over the top of that. And the entirety of him and all that was wrapped around him was then encased in a scarlet blanket. And that's the way that we had found him. That's the way that they had buried him.
Well, not a dissimilar to the way the Mandan buried them. They also use the scaffolds. You know, when a family member passes on, they will bundle them in robes and then put them up on a scaffold away from the village. And, you know, for about 4 days they will mourn the dead, and then they'll have a passing ceremony to usher the family member onto the next world. And then they will leave the scaffold there until it rots and then it falls to the ground. And then the Mandan, they will collect the bones and then bury the bones, maybe build a cairn over them. They don't, though, bury the skull. They'll actually take the skull back into the village, and then there'll be maybe a circle of skulls, and they'll add the family member skull to that circle. And, you know, whenever they have a problem, it's been interesting to watch. Family members will go out and they will actually converse with their deceased with the skull, and they possibly out there cracking jokes or trying to remedy a problem. You know, perhaps the wife is having trouble with her husband, and so she's out there trying to give advice on how to get even with him for some misdeed or something. But anyway, the Arikara, though, once one of their family members passes on, they will, like you were saying, with White Cow, they will wrap them in robes.
Right.
They'll have them in a sitting position. They will actually bury them in mound burial, so it's different the practices. I just don't understand the fascination with wanting to collect the skulls, though. It's let me trade, but not in skulls.
No.
Yeah. What else has James been up to? What else have they been catching?
They, as I understand, have brought in I don't believe that all of the animals that they have collected are necessarily new ones. I know that he's continually hoping to get more. I believe he's still hoping to be able to get a pronghorn or a bighorn. I don't know if they'll be able to do that or not. I'm not sure how many specimens he's hoping to collect, but their time is running short. They're going to be preparing to depart soon.
Yeah. Well, they have impressed upon me, or James has impressed upon me, the desire for a swift fox.
A swift fox.
Yes.
Well, Francis,